it's a baby. Well, what if Miss Nature died the next day? I'm not her biggest fan, but if she died the next day, would y'all be claiming witchcraft? Talks with Trip. What's up?
So AK, I get what you're saying wholeheartedly. I do think, yes, when black people, I say black people,
Yes.
hear words that go outside of the spectrum, like ritual and things like that, they immediately like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Now, I'm not going to get into it, but if we really want to talk about Christianity, drinking grape juice and calling it blood and eating crackers and calling it flesh, that's a little ritualism as well.
100%. 100%.
But if you say the word ritual, it's condemned. But I'm going to say this as well. I completely agree. There is a whole lot of selective outrage because, prime example, and I'm not trying to be funny, there are people on this app, myself included. So I cannot say, oh, HB is the devil, because AuntKaren, you have heard me argue with people.
Mm-hmm.
You know I go to the pits of hell and be swimming.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to say, it would be foul for me to say, oh no, she's a horrible person. I've gotten into it with Aries before. So I'm not going to say she's a horrible person. I completely understand. If it was my child, a relative in my family, I would definitely feel some type of way that it was said. But at the same time, as a person that talks as strong as I do, I also know that I've said things like that to individuals. Now, I never wish death on an adult or a child, but I will say that I can see it from both sides. I definitely see that it's causing a divide with the people. You have people that are like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to say anything. And I'm seeing a lot of people that are very much so, because let's be clear, people are now saying, oh, shame on HB. But AuntKaren, this is not the first funeral HB has thrown. She did throw a funeral for Aries and Aries' child, but she also threw a funeral for Nitra. You know what I'm saying? And then people are like, oh, well, Nitra cares about the kids. This is about the kids. But they got a full-blown recording, and Nitra may have not said, now Nitra did say F the baby, but she didn't say grape the baby, shake the baby. But she turned around and condoned her mod saying it. Her moderator had said it on her page, and her other moderator had actually unalived the child. She wanted HB dropped from panels because she said HB is over here talking about children. She's making fun of my grandchildren, and rightfully so. If I had grandkids, I would be upset my grandkids were being talked about. But at the same time, how can you want somebody to defend your grandchild when you've set up there and allowed this man to be a moderator on your platform, knowing what he did to his? When people say justice for his child, you're dropping them and blocking them. I agree a whole lot of wrong takes place on the app, but the thing is, they don't want to call it wrong amongst multiple people. Now, if I call somebody, not trying to be funny, AK, but there are some people out here that look like monkeys. If I happen to be a lighter complected person and say that to a darker complected person, they call it colorism. Hell with the fact you may have actual 8 features, but they call it colorism. So they do pick and choose, but let another dark-skinned woman say that about a dark-skinned woman, it's not colorism, it's just 2 women talking. So they pick and choose.
Absolutely.
They can choose who they want to rock.
And that's why I said, you cannot sit here. And this is why I think $2 is so fake. And a lot of people are fake. $2 is not the only one. Mariah's fake. $2. Everybody who sat in that panel during Nitra's funeral, who put on and then cried. And let me draw the connection. And then cried when Heartbreaker did it about the baby. Y'all fake. Because you didn't really care, and you don't really care about the baby. You don't. You just want to make it look like you have a heart. You want to make it look like you don't stand for that. Well, quite honestly, you stand for a lot of stuff. You just want to make it look like, so to your panel, to your followers, that you have this kind of morality that's above everybody else, and it's not there. And then also, I'm going to be honest with you, that therapist, because we're going to get into Trina using her baby's birthday as a money grab. So I'm going to be honest with you. You may not want to be in here in a little bit. We're going to get to Trina using her daughter's birthday as a money grab. Okay,
don't run that therapist.
Okay, because I was very sick with that yesterday. I was very sick with her because she complained every other time somebody's seeing her baby, but she had no issue throwing her daughter photos up for some cash grabs. So I just want to make sure if you're going to stay in here, you're going to stay for the whole thing and not dip out later on. Because I don't want you to act like you was never in here and was never involved. But I did clock that yesterday, but we'll talk about that.
Now, AK, you got to be careful with that, because in a minute they're going to say, and of course we know this ain't the truth, but in a minute they're going to say, you're jealous, AK. You're upset that she was getting money for her child and you weren't. And you should be ashamed of that, to even thought that she would be using her child. You need to go somewhere and be ashamed.
Yep. No, and I'm prepared. I mean that's how it goes. I just want that, but I'll clock that in a minute. But as I was saying, as a whole, when you look at the situation with Nitra, Heartbreaker, $2, all of that stuff, you have to look at it and you have to decide for yourself. What are you willing to stand for? I think $2 tears, everybody who was crying, oh, this and that. Mariah, who would later come on, I'm sure she'll later say, oh, I would never do that to a child. But you participated. You know, you're the same one who wanted Omar to be held accountable because he said hello to you in a DM. You wanted to make it seem like you was being abused and all this other stuff. But now this other stuff comes up with your girl Heartbreaker. It's oh no, I no, y'all participated, you enjoyed it, you loved it, and you cannot later on fall back and be like, oh, this is ridiculous. Nobody should ever do that. What's up, Trip?
AK, I'm gonna apologize in advance. Last night on Tea Times Live, in the middle of everybody discussing what went on between HB and Aries, Trina comes up. She had already been writing it in the comments. Oh, I don't want to hear anybody crying because you guys didn't cry when Trip talked about my child. So when she came up, I was already prepared. But she came up and she said, Tea Time, how can you be upset when nobody showed this kind of outrage when my child was upset? She said, Trina, I have a right to choose. You know, this hit me different. She said, I'm just saying people weren't upset then. So, but then my thing is talking hypocrisy. She says, Trip said, F my child. And I don't think that was okay. Yet she was very, very close friends, moderating for HB. But HB throws funerals for children. I love HB down. Can't stand Trina. But how do you get mad at Trip for saying F your baby, yet you're hanging with somebody that throws funerals for children? And I like HB, and I don't like Trina. But you want to speak on hypocrisy.
I think kids should be off limits in any of this social media mess.
But can you really say that, Chantel? I understand what you're saying, and I respect anybody to say they don't want to discuss children or they don't go as low as discussing children. But let's be clear, in the real world, and people can say on the internet kids should not be involved. But on the internet and in the real world, if you get into it with somebody, do you think you're able to tell them? People can honestly say, when you have an issue with me, don't speak on my mother. But as children, we've all been in school and heard somebody say, yo, mama. And your mama ain't got nothing to do with the situation. Your mama is not in school with you. She has not taught you to be disrespectful and rude to people. And people still will say, yo, mama. Your kids are an extension of you. People think that by saying your kids is going to hurt your feelings and you're antagonizing them, you're bothering them, you're irritating them. They're going to say your child. You have people who are saying, hey, I'm mature enough, I won't say that. But that is not the majority. And unfortunately, when you come to TikTok or certain parts of even the world, if you're not functioning with people who move like you move, you're liable to hear it. It's not an anomaly. Oh, my goodness. Who in the world would say that? Cast them to the bottom of the sea. No, people say it.
But here's the thing. I believe that kids should be off limit. But there's a certain thing, like with Trina, girl drops her daughter in every conversation she possibly can when she wants money. Now, obviously, nobody should talk about somebody's child, how they look or anything like that. Absolutely. I don't agree with that. However, wasn't Trina just crying a few weeks ago when she said somebody put her daughter on Reddit? A photo of that was a screenshot from a photo of her live on Reddit. And then when it's your daughter's birthday, you got her photo blowed up. You got all this other stuff so you can collect coins. So if you're going to use, the parent is responsible regardless. And if somebody says something about my daughter and they were in my life, you're just blocked. I ain't got nothing to tell you. Block, bye. You ain't coming over here. But I'm not going to wake up and be like, they posted my daughter here and there and there. No, I'm not going to do that.
To fuel it when you need money. I don't want my daughter's picture posted. I don't want my daughter on Reddit. You can claim your daughter is put on Reddit, but then you produce the people an even bigger, clearer picture to post your daughter on Reddit again.
Good morning. Exactly. You got and then if they took her face and used it as a profile picture, you would be crying, say, I need help. I need this. They doing this to Doe. Y'all can do this to me, but don't do it to Stink. But you did it to Stink.
I think the only way to keep your kids from being talked about on social media is to not even bring them up on social media. Like, I never post about my kids. Well, I do my daughter because she's an adult now. I talk about them on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, but not on TikTok, because people on TikTok get too ignorant and it's just too messy on TikTok now. It used to be fun. Now it's just a bunch of mean geriatric women and evil men on here doing stuff just to get a rise out of people. And they know they can do that by messing with your kid.
Chantel, I'm not trying to laugh, but that was hilarious. Not geriatric women and bitter men. But I'm going to say, I'm going to say this in regards to this. AK say, but you did it to stink. But AK, the thing is, though, and I know people don't like to address this, but when you ever been told somebody charity starts at home? So you ever been arguing with your sibling out the house and your parent be like, you don't mistreat your sibling, because then you allow other people to know that it's okay to mistreat your sibling. Okay, so my thing is, she will tell somebody, she wanted me to apologize to her daughter, to apologize to her. You apologize. And I'm not trying to bring anything negative, but I'm going to say this. I find it very, very disrespectful when you don't even lead a life of example for your child, yet you want me to apologize to your child. You would bring your child to social media. We wouldn't even know you had a child. You'll post your child. You use people to get your child's hair done. You use people to fund your child. Come on, please give me money. I'm moving from Ohio to Texas and I need money for my child. But you don't want nobody to speak on your child. They're not allowed to speak on your child unless you speak on your child. And you only speak on your child for catering and giving purposes. She had the nerve to come on Tea Times Live last night and tell us, I went out for daiquiris. On whose money? Because the people have been sending you money. So whose money did you go out and get daiquiris with? And I'm asking sincerely, whose money have you been smoking and rolling up with? Because that's TikTok's money. But you don't want us to say anything to you. And I don't even follow her. You don't want us to say anything to you. But you're using our money to go out and get drinks, to go out and get smoke. You don't think we like to drink and smoke on our own dime that we worked for?
That was her daughter's B-Day money. That's what that was. And that's why I sit here and I look, and then she'll be on there later on. We got to get our hotel together. We need to extend it. Well, baby, how long are you extending this? Because I thought you had a job. I thought you was driving around. I don't know. I thought you had stuff going on. How long are we extending the extended stay? Because it's getting to the point you need it every week. We funding you a hotel every week.
You know what?
You can't save no money. You can't save. Hey, look, let me tell y'all something. No, look. You can't save no money staying in a hotel. Add that shit up when y'all just go out on the regular with your kids, your family, or whatever it may be. You cannot really stack no money in the hotel unless you have a good job and how these people donated to you. But what I came up here to talk about was, let me tell y'all something. This shit is social media, right? And fuck it, I'm a flex. The shit that I do for my children on here, a lot of people don't do. And I mean, some of us want to do different things and some of us can't afford it, or some of us don't have the know-how. My kids been posted on this motherfucker. My wife, me, everything. All kind of shit been posted on here, right? But I'm going to be real with y'all. That shit don't affect me in real life. People have selective outrage. They're going to be outraged about whatever the fuck they want to do. Then they turn around and do the same damn thing. The same people who sit up in these lives laughing when it's done to us, when it's done to somebody they don't like, to somebody they like, or when it's done to them, oh my God, it's so this, it's so that. Man, don't let this shit move y'all. Don't y'all be playing on these motherfuckers' tears. These people is using y'all. They fucking conning y'all. They're scamming y'all. Now, if a person come on here and they genuinely ask for some help and they need it, you do that out of your heart. But y'all got to at one point realize that you being played for a fool. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what these people do. And the reason they trying to play y'all for a fool, because they want these numbers, they want the views, and they want these cash apps. And I'm not knocking nobody for ever how they try to do the shit. But what I'm saying is, I'm smart enough to see the shit. You ain't finna play on my emotions and my feelings. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, every time I get ready to give somebody some shit, they really prove who they are. And I'm like, let me put my little wallet back up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that therapist, honey, we're glad that you don't feel used, honey. I'm glad for you. I really am. I hope you never feel used. I hope every time you give to her, you get a pat on the back, a spiritual pat on the, whatever you think you get. I hope you get that. I'm just saying, for what we see it's unfortunate you funding a habit. And hey, maybe your bills can be split that way. Mine can't be. But hey, it's good. It was good for the goose is good for the gander. Okay. If that's what worked for you, go get your spiritual pat on the back. I hope it works out.
Hey,
just don't come back later on and cry to us later. Because what I've realized is that every time somebody has supported Trina, they come back later with a vengeance. And it's that I told you so rhetoric. So do you? We good with you. Do you?
And I'm going to say one more thing and I'm going to drop.
Go ahead. And then Keys, please.
Okay, I'm going to say one more thing. Look, TikTok will be gone.